Welcome to the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. Get ready to be inspired, uplifted, and connected to the miraculous energy of unconditional love that I call Mother Mary. If you're a highly sensitive, highly creative entrepreneur or light worker, and you want to magnify your impact and your intuition, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Reverend Frances Faden, interfaith minister, intuitive coach, and author of Meditation is Friendship with God. I can't wait to share miraculous stories, books, meditations, messages, and interviews with other miraculous light workers just like you. Are you ready to magnify your miracles? What are we waiting for? Let's get started. Hello, my miraculous friend, and welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. This is Reverend Frances Faden, and I am so grateful that we get to spend this time together helping you magnify your miracles. Today, I have something so special. I've been working on this for a while. I've been waiting for a way that I could answer your questions. And now there's a way. You can go to francesfaden.com/question, and you can record your own question, a voice message, basically up to 90 seconds. And I will answer your questions on spirituality and manifestation, on being a light worker, on growing your business, about women in the spiritual path, anything that you want to ask me, just go ahead and record that. And then in the future, when I do another episode, I gather up some questions and I do another Ask Me Anything, I could be answering your question. How fun is that? It's like having a call-in show. It makes me really, really happy. So I'm going to be doing that today. I'm not doing it with recorded ones, but I went into our Magnify Your Miracles podcast Facebook group and I posted the question, if you could ask me anything, what would you ask? And I got 3 lovely questions that I'm going to be answering for you today. But before we do that, let's take a few deep breaths together. Get ourselves grounded and centered. Breathing in the energy of expansion, breathing out anything you no longer need. And as we get ourselves really ready to receive this beautiful inspiration today, knowing that we're going to hear exactly what we need to hear, let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude, and we can begin. All right, my friends. So here we are, and we're doing an episode called Ask Me Anything, Your Questions Answered. So I'm going to just dive right in, and I want you to keep your ears open because I might be answering your question and you don't even know you had this question, right? So the first question is a question about Mother Mary and St. Anthony. She says, considering how responsive St. Anthony is to many who ask him for help about finding lost stuff, do you know of a similar type of a request that Mother Mary often grants? So for those of you who don't know, if you weren't raised in this tradition, I was raised Catholic. And so part of what we were raised to believe was that all the different saints had different qualities to them that they wanted to help us with. And so St. Anthony is the patron saint of lost items. And so people often ask him if they've lost their keys or they've lost something for his help, his intercession. But we also know that St. Anthony can help you with anything that feels lost. So if you feel like you've lost your faith, you've lost your mojo, you've lost your direction, you've lost connection with your creativity, like anything that feels lost, he can really, really help you with. So this person is asking the question, that's why we call on St. Anthony. Is there something similar that is for Mother Mary? And here's the thing about Mother Mary. There's so many versions of Mother Mary, right? That you can really call on her for anything. So I think of Our Lady Star of the Sea and how people that are traveling and about to take a sea voyage often call on her, or if they feel like they've lost their path and they're looking to find their way, they can often call on her. There's so many versions of Mother Mary that are healing, like Our Lady of Lourdes and all of that. So Mother Mary is not really confined to one thing. But what I will say is that in my experience, the thing that she excels in and loves helping us with is our deep heart's desire. She loves helping us to manifest whatever our deep heart's desire might be. And for some people, maybe that's having a baby. For other people, it could be manifesting your business. It doesn't really matter what it is. What matters is that it's a heart's desire for you. That's the most important thing. So I would say, there's probably a version of Mother Mary for about everything that's out there, no matter what you need. But I say that you really want to connect with her when you're wanting to experience something connected to your heart's desire or your purpose, what I like to call your sacred life purpose. And that's what I would recommend. So thank you for that beautiful question. Really appreciate it. All right. The second question is, somebody said to me, can you talk about judgment? And I said, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Because judgment's kind of a big topic. Like, what's your specific question? And here's what her answer was. She says, looking at judgment, I see two scenarios within me. One, I use judgment to protect myself, which is somewhat based on distrust. And two, I'm judging myself and projecting it out. So then she says, I'm an interesting mixture of introvert and extrovert. I love my own company, but I'm also very outgoing. However, now this is where the judgment comes in. If you invade my space and disrespect my boundaries, I start to judge and distrust. And she says, not sure if that helps. I guess I'm trying to figure out when I overreact with judgment and why. Well, to me, it's pretty clear why you overreact with judgment, because your space was invaded and you're feeling disrespected and somebody's just crossed your boundaries, right? So what that lets us know, and what's so great about this question that I love so much, is this level of self-awareness, right? So this is part of what I do when I'm coaching my clients, is we just bring things to awareness for people. So judgment comes up for you. Someone's invaded your space, and now you find yourself judging them and not trusting them. Well, I don't know that I would trust somebody if they're disrespecting me and invading my space, right? And is it an overreaction or is it a reaction? And that you are feeling this as a way to protect yourself. That's what it sounds like to me. Judging is a way of trying to protect yourself. It creates a little distance between you and the other person, because now I'm over here and they're over there and I'm judging them, right? And there's that sense of safety. So the first thing I would say is that when you find yourself feeling judgmental or even judging people in your head, you want to take a step back and say, when did I start not feeling safe? When did I start feeling disrespected? When did I start feeling like my space was invaded? When did that happen? Because you might not know, right? You might just be like, I'm feeling really judgy. Like, what's up with that judgy? But then you go, wait a minute. I get judgy when boundaries have been crossed. When did that happen? And then you can trace it back and you'll probably see, oh, this is what happened, right? So this gives you a little bit of compassion for yourself. And it also lets that judgment, which is like a red flag for you, come up and actually help you. So we don't want to stay in the judgment. We don't want to keep judging people, but we don't want to push it away like it's bad, like I shouldn't have any. You want to let yourself be like, oh, judgment's here. That's telling me something. I do something similar with my clients when jealousy or envy come up. A lot of times people feel very uncomfortable. They're like, oh my God, I don't want to be jealous of my sister. I don't want to be envious of my friend. But I say these are really valuable emotions because they're telling you that you want something you're not giving yourself permission to have, right? So we get jealous of other people because, well, they have it and I want it. And why don't I have it? And how come they have it, right? Because there's something that you're not letting yourself have. So if you give yourself permission to have it, whatever it might be, the jealousy falls away. It's pretty amazing how it happens. So if you can be kind to yourself, and that's the thing I said is like, don't judge your judgment, right? You don't want to be judging the fact that you're being judgy. You want to welcome that judgment in and be compassionate and really be like, okay, this judgment is letting me know something's not right. So what do I need to do to take care of myself? So that's what Mother Mary says. Don't judge the judgment, but honor it as a messenger for you. Honor it as a messenger. And thank you for that question. So grateful. I bet you a lot of people feel that way. All right. Our third question is a beautiful question that I also needed to ask a little bit more about. She said, I would love to hear about pathways back to spiritual practice. And I said, okay, are you talking about practices that you started and then you stopped? You want to do again? And she said, yes, steps to rebuild. So the first thing that Mother Mary wants to tell you is you've never been off the path. You've never been off the path. Even if you stopped doing whatever you were doing, you've never been off the path. So what you're saying is, how can I start doing something that makes me feel more connected, makes me feel better, makes me feel more like myself, right? Because from God's eyes, you're fine, right? So we want to take a look at something. So from a coaching perspective, I would say, first, you want to take a look at what are the practices that you want to get back to? Are you wanting to meditate? Are you wanting to pray? Are you wanting to do service in your community? Are you wanting to do creativity? You're wanting to garden? Everything can be spiritual practice. So what are you wanting to do? And why are you wanting to do it? Get really clear about that why. Like, why is it important to you to get back into rebuilding your spiritual practice? And then I would say, and I recommend writing all this down. I definitely recommend journaling. I would say you want to take a look at when's the last time I was doing these practices and why did I stop? What happened? So did I stop because I was bored and it really wasn't making me feel connected? Did I stop because, someone in my family got sick and my priorities got all swished around? Did I stop because I needed some help? I needed some support and I didn't know who to ask? You want to take a look at why did you stop? What happened? And then from there, we can help you rebuild. So let's say that you've answered those questions and you're like, okay, what I want to do is I want to start meditating. And why I want to start meditating is because it makes me feel really peaceful and really calm. And I love being out in the garden and being able to meditate. It just brings me so much joy. And I miss feeling that sense of connection. Okay, great. And so we know, why did you stop? Well, I stopped because life happened and I got really busy and blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So most of the time, what happens with people is they're either not getting results and they give up and they don't know who to ask, or they're not prioritizing themselves. They talk themselves out of it. This isn't the most practical thing I can do is take care of this or take care of that. And they forget that taking care of themselves, especially spiritually, takes care of everything else, right? When we do our spiritual practice, everything else tends to work itself out. So once you know what that is, and for our example here, we're just going to say, let's say that's meditation. You want to come up with what I say is your own commitment. Do you want to do it every day? Do you want to do it once a week? You decide what you want to do. But whatever it is, I want you to have a minimum commitment of time that you're going to do it so that even on your worst day, you can keep your commitment. Right? What is that? So that might be a minute. That might be a minute of breathing. And that might be on the worst day when everything goes wrong, you can at least keep your commitment to do 1 minute. And really keeping the commitment is more important even than what you're doing. So maybe for you, it's 5 minutes or whatever, but I wouldn't say to go from 0 to trying to do 20 minutes because you're just going to feel frustrated. So if you think about it, as if you used to be a marathon runner, you used to have this great rhythm, you used to go running and you knew how much you needed to do. You'd go out for a certain amount every day. You were building up your strength, all of that. And then let's say something happened where you completely stopped. Well, you wouldn't go from doing nothing to thinking you're going to go run a marathon the next day, right? You're going to start in steps. So maybe the first step is you get yourself a new pair of running shoes. And then the next day, you lace them up and put them on. And then the day after that, maybe you walk to the end of the block, and you just start to get back into, because what needs to happen is you need to get back into the identity that I'm a meditator. So rather than doing these practices, you want to get into the identity of I am this person and I do these practices because I am this person. We don't do the practices hoping to become the person. We already are that person. So you're already a meditator. You're already someone that's doing spiritual practice, right? So you want to come back to you and be like, okay, so from where I am, what can I do? Even if everything went wrong, right? The pipes burst, the dog got sick, whatever. Can I, even in the vet's office while my dog's in the back, put my hand on my heart and focus on my breath for a minute and just say a simple mantra like, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a beautiful way to just start. You do that. You can just have one prayer that you say if that's the practice you want to do. And maybe you have a prayer that you memorize, like the one I love. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Whenever I'm in a bind, I say that prayer. Okay? That prayer, boom, brings me right back. Or maybe it's a different prayer. Maybe it's your own thing. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's clear in your mind what it is and you have it on autopilot so that you know every day I'm going to do this, or once a week, I'm like whatever it might be, and you make it non-negotiable. Now, the thing underneath of this is prioritizing yourself and prioritizing your needs. As I said, on God's side, God's not sitting there and going, what happened? Where'd you go? God's sitting there going, hello, I've been here the whole time. And so have you. You just didn't know that I was here. And so this process is really about, first of all, come back to yourself, forgive yourself if need be, and really let go of whatever story, whatever judgment, whatever it might be that you might have that's telling you that you're not doing enough, or, whatever it might be, and that you can start right now. You can start right now with whatever it is, but have a really minimum commitment that you can keep, that you can build on, or that you always keep. So if it's a minute or 5 minutes, you keep it no matter what, and then you can always build on it from there. So let me know how that sounds to you. And if you have any other questions about that, you can leave me a voice message. Isn't that fun? You can go to francisfaden.com/question and you can leave me a voice question. And if you want to elaborate on anything, you can. You have 90 seconds though, so you want to be succinct, but you can get a lot said in 90 seconds. It's more than you think. All right. Well, thank you to everybody who asked a question. I love this. And Mother Mary's telling me to say, if you're trying to find your way back to your spiritual practice, you can also ask St. Anthony to help you, right? Because he helps us find our way when we're lost. I love that. Thank you, Mother Mary, for connecting those things for us. All right, my friends, so fun to get to answer your questions. And if you do have any questions for me about your spiritual practices, about the spiritual path and awakening, if you have questions about the manifestation process, the Magnify Your Miracles process, the journal that I created, you have questions about how to be a light worker and be successful, anything at all, anything that I can help you with, I'm so happy to do it. Just go to francisfaden.com/question and leave me your question. And then the next time I do one of these episodes, it could be your question that I'm answering. That would be so fun. All right, my friends. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to share it. Let other people know that they can now ask me a question as well. And just always remember, the key to magnifying your miracles is knowing that your miracle is already here. God bless you, my friend. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. I'm so grateful to be able to spend this time with you. If you want even more inspiration, feel free to visit my website, francisfaden.com or magnifyyourmiracles.com. And if you did enjoy this episode, I would really appreciate it if you left a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever it is that you connect with awesome podcasts. Remember, the key to magnifying your miracles is remembering that your miracle is already here.